All right, today we're going to talk about the three graphs that prove we are not headed into a foreclosure crisis. We're going to go ahead and get started right now. Hey everyone, Nick Good here, your favorite Dallas-Fort Worth real estate agent. And if this is your first time watching one of our videos, thank you so much for watching. And two, please hit that subscribe and notification bell down below. That way you'll get notified whenever we release a new video just like this. And I've done a video previously about will Texas see a foreclosure boom, but I wanted to do this video and send it out because we are seeing more and hearing more about everything that's going on with the pandemic. But these graphs here, these three graphs that I'm going to share with you are going to show why we're not headed into a foreclosure crisis. And as I pull this up, you can see right here, this is from Keeping Current Matters. This is a company that just uses, it's non-biased, it just uses the statistic and stats that are out there and puts it together into a pretty little bow that talks about, one, why we're not headed into a foreclosure crisis, right? So it talks about with the massive surge in unemployment that's happening this year, it's natural to assume that a massive surge of foreclosures will follow. And by the way, we've talked to several home buyers and many homeowners who said they were waiting to see what's going to happen. And a lot of home buyers that are trying to time the market thinking that there's going to be a large foreclosure boom. And that's just not the case, right? And here, let's show you the first graph, right? This graph here is talking about the cash out home equity that we've seen in 2020 and that we saw back as far back as 2001, right? And you can see the three lines here that are in red, 2005, 2006, and 2007, is when we saw this massive home equity cash out refinance that were happening. And so, right, that led to the 2008 market collapse and foreclosure crisis. And that was a big part of it to say. And so when that happened, many borrowers were owning more than they could afford on their home, and thus the mass foreclosure crisis followed. And today's market looks very, very different. If you can see here that the cash out refinances bottomed out, of course, in 2011 and 14, right? We just saw it hit the bottom here. We weren't, a lot of homeowners weren't, they didn't have the equity. There wasn't a lot of equity buildup. A lot of people may have been even kind of gun shy of doing that cash out home equity because of what they experienced in the '08 Great Recession. And then we've seen just a gradual increase, nowhere near in 2020 what it was in '05, '06, and '07. And in fact, if we kind of look, it's just a little bit greater than 2001. So what we're seeing is a lot of homeowners sitting on an abundance of equity here, right? And lending standards are much stricter. So what that means is instead of foreclosing and walking away, many homeowners are in a good position to protect their investment, right? And right now, what we're seeing is of the 5,760,000 families that were granted a loan forbearance, right? This is what happened upon the expiration of the plan, right? Almost 2.3 million homeowners were granted a forbearance extension, right? And 2.3 million removed while performing. So what that means is they caught back up on their mortgage or they started making payments again. And then 500,000 homeowners paid their mortgage off, right? And then there was 481,000 that expired or delinquent and lost mitigation. So they're still trying to work through it. And then 80,000 homeowners are in the risk of moving into the actual foreclosure process. So we can see that nearly 44% of homeowners have either paid off their mortgage or opted out. And so Mike Frantoni, the senior vice president and chief economist at the Mortgage Banker Associates, said nearly 2/3 of borrowers who exited loan forbearance remain current on their payments or have repaid their forborne payments or moved into a payment deferral plan. All of these borrowers have been able to resume or continue their pre-pandemic monthly payments, right? So that's the great news. So over, nearly 2/3 or close to 66% are current on their payments, or they've repaid their loan forbearance payments or moved into a payment deferral plan, right? That they've worked it out. And so that is amazing news, especially with everything that you're hearing in the news right now, all the negative news that's going on. And so what I liked here is looking at the distribution of loans in active forbearance by current combined loan to value. Basically what that means is the people that are still in the loan forbearance process, we're seeing that about 91% have at least 11% or greater equity. And why is this a big deal? One, right, we saw that, after the 2008 financial collapse, we saw the worst foreclosure crisis in history. The market was flooded with homes that had defaulted on their mortgage payments, spiking all the way up to over 500,000 foreclosures in the peak of 2009. Now, the reason being, if we go back here to the top, it's because look at this. 05, 06, 07, we saw a ton of cash out refinances. So when we had the recession hit in 08, what happens in 2009? A year later, we see a lot of these people were upside down on their mortgage and either lost their job or had a decrease in pay, and they were unable to catch up, or they were unable to make their payments, and thus, they could not sell and walk away with any, break even or any gains, right? They had to go through the short sale or foreclosure process. So today we're looking at a much different story. According to Black Knight, 91% of homeowners in forbearance have at least 11% equity in their homes, right? They say, while that number may not seem like a big number, that much equity means rather than getting foreclosed on, these homeowners can actually not only sell their home, but they can potentially walk away with gains from it. And so what I like to see here is that homeowners have multiple options that they can pursue, right? They can talk with their lender. They may be able to work out a forbearance plan, or that they can sell, not have to go through the short sale process, and walk away with gains, right? But let's look at that from a Dallas-Fort Worth number perspective here. And this is, if you were to buy a home in 2019, this includes all construction types, all property types, single family, townhouse, condo, farm and ranch. So it's mainly going to be the single family that's really making up this. And this includes new construction as well as pre-owned homes. And so we're seeing here that the average sales price in 2019 was $311,433, right? So if you bought in 2019, that's somewhere around the average that you were looking at. That home today was selling, the average sales price is $357,815. So a gain in value of almost 15%. So we're seeing it spot on with what those three graphs were proving, of saying that these homeowners that were in active loan forbearance having at least 11% or greater in equity, right? Let's go back and look 3 years prior. 3 years prior, we're seeing the average sales price of $306,602 to $357,000, right? So it's still a greater than 15% gain, right? When you combine these two here. And so we will see that in Dallas-Fort Worth marketplace, there is still a lot of runway left in our market. We're seeing huge relocation ban from other states, right? We're seeing it's a great time. If you are a home seller, it's a great time to sell and also buy, because we're driven by relocation, right? And just like I mentioned previously, we're seeing a lot of clients relocating from other states, usually higher tax, higher income states, right? We're seeing a lot of demand because of the low interest rates that are starting to happen or still happening, and that's predicted to continue to go up through 2021. Right. And we're seeing actually a large employment sector. If you watch one of my last videos, we talked about how we've seen a large recovery in the employment sector here in Dallas-Fort Worth after, from pandemic to what's going on right now. In fact, we've recovered the majority. The major loss that's happened here in the Dallas-Fort Worth is still in the servicing sector, like the restaurants and hospitality industry, right? And so we're seeing still that recovery and jobs is making up for that continued push into our home buying market. So if you are a home buyer, right, or if maybe you're renting, maybe you're a first-time buyer that's thinking about buying, you're trying to time this market, now's the time, right? We're going to continue seeing appreciation rates through 2021, probably even early 2022, right? And if you're a home seller, right, let's say you're wanting to upgrade your house, maybe you're wanting to get a bigger one, maybe you're wanting to downsize. Yes, you may be paying a little bit more for your home, but you've got a lot more equity in your house. Let's go ahead, transfer that equity into that larger home, that lower interest rate, right? And get you into the continued appreciation that we're going to see in the Dallas-Fort Worth marketplace. So if you want to talk and want to see if now's the right time to sell, maybe you're upside down on your house, maybe you're behind on your payments and you're struggling and you're saying, I'm not going to get ahead. Let's talk about what our options are. Maybe you can still sell. If you are upside down and you don't have enough equity, we can look at short sale options. That is still a great tool to use instead of getting foreclosed on. So give us a call, 972 215-7653, or go to our website, thegoodhometeam.com. You can see your home value by clicking on the links at thegoodhometeam.com, or you can contact us and schedule a free, no obligation, it's all confidential, consultation, right? And we can walk you through the process of what it looks like to buy a home, what it looks like to sell, what it looks like to sell and buy, right? Because of what's going on in this marketplace, you definitely want to have a great plan and a great agent and a great team behind you when it comes to selling, buying, or selling and buying. So again, go to thegoodhometeam.com or give us a call, 972-215-7653. And if you love this video, please go ahead, comment down below. Make sure you hit that subscribe and notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video.